Just because you call an industrial property small bay does not mean it's actually small bay. This is Jeremiah with Patriot Holdings. So half the buildings I see in industrial are marketed as small bay, but actually they really aren't small bay industrial. And I see operators buying them and they don't quite get it. And by the time they figure it out, they're 6 months post-close and they got tenants who stop paying. They can't release space. They got vacancy. The leases expire. There's a lot of tenant improvements and they're spreading the problem throughout their portfolio. And this doesn't just happen to rookies. This happens to veterans. I've been in rooms with experienced operators, people that have done dozens of deals, and they call flex industrial, mid-bay industrial, contractor bay industrial, small bay industrial. It's not the same asset class, and it's very confusing because they don't operate the same. So if you buy something that is what it actually isn't, then you're going to get in trouble. So by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what true small bay is versus everything else in industrial real estate. And ultimately, that's going to help you be a better investor, either passive or active. And that definition alone is going to help you be a better passive or active investor. Okay, so what's the definition of small bay industrial? Now, small bay industrial and contractor bays, it's pretty synonymous. You could say they're somewhat of the same thing, but in my eyes, it's spaces, tenants that are under 5,000 square feet, not 12,000, not 25,000. The suite or the unit is rectangular. It's standardized. It's not custom. There's not a lot of custom fit outs, meaning custom TIs. There's no unique layouts designed around a specific tenant's operation. There's typically basic roll-up garage doors, a man door, clear heights, meaning the ceiling heights are about 18 feet minimum. They're simple, they're clean, they're functional space. Now, the things can vary, but that gives you a good idea. Now, the tenant occupying the space doesn't really need to be beautiful. They just need it to work, load supplies in and out, have the proper power supply, have enough parking, have a nice, simple, easy lease. So the building is turnkey. That's it. That's what matters the most here. That the space as the investor is uniform and standardized so it conforms to a plan that you can scale. If there's a lot of unique attributes of the space or the property, then you're constantly dealing with a lot of noise, inconsistency, and confusion. I mean, the basic rule is if you have to demo it, if you have to redesign it, and then you have to lease it out, in my eyes, don't buy it. That's not my preference. Now, it's my preference, and I'm disciplined to make that hard rule, but every industrial investor is different. But I learned this rule from pain points, from experience. If you mistake 5,000 to 25,000 square foot spaces as being small bay industrial, tenants then at that point want customized space. They want a showroom. They want sometimes medical office. They want a retail space in the front. And that's not conducive to the operation. It ends up being more office, almost 50% office or retail versus 80 or 90% office and the rest of it's warehouse. That's where the confusion comes in, and that's where you can't scale and operations gets difficult quickly. And the timing around these tenants, the downtime of getting the space built, getting permits, it makes it very difficult to get a strong ROI on the property because of all the complexity. A lot of people push me back on this, but with those sizes, those tenants have demands. And what are you going to tell the tenant? I'm not going to lease to you. And the leasing broker is going to say, hey, I got a good, strong tenant. Now, put up the dollars to put that tenant in there, and they probably want some free rent. And that's where it gets confusing because you want to get the tenant, you want to get revenue, but then all of the costs involved, not only monetarily, but time and team overseeing it. So that's what I would call flex industrial, meaning it's flexible. There could be multiple uses in this type of property. It's a great asset class to invest in, but it's important to know that small bay is not flex and mid bay is different than small bay. And we're talking about office and retail users that are using an industrial space for their business. Now, the risk profile on these assets are completely different. So as a larger tenant, 5 to 25,000 plus square feet, you're probably going to get better credit tenants, but they're going to ask for demands. And that's the difference. Where small bay, under 5,000 square foot spaces, you're going to have tenants that just started their business or they're very small, they don't have any credit. Doesn't matter. It's about ease and convenience, and it's about speed. You're providing a turnkey solution so they can get out of the house, so they can get out of that old barn or this defunct building and get into a functional space that they can start making money on right away. And they're not willing to wait. It's about convenience and ease for these tenants, and that's how you can drive positive ROI. So the confusion sometimes is that spaces between 5 and 25,000 square feet are called flex, but they also can be mid-bay. So this is just larger warehouses that you still have 10% office, 90% warehouse, but it's important to know that that's a bigger size unit. They typically want longer term leases, not 1 year leases or month-to-month leases. And it's a different tenant profile that they typically work with a leasing broker, and they're going to work with that broker to occupy the space, and you're going to have to pay a leasing commission. It's helpful because the leasing brokers are incentivized. They want to actually lease that space because they're compensated a good commission. And that differs from small bay because small bay tenants are under 5,000 square feet. The commissions are pretty low for a realtor and the incentive isn't there. So a lot of leasing brokers won't deal with those types of assets. That's where, as an investor, you have to have the leasing under your control. Even if you're using someone, still marketing it, measuring it, making sure that they're actually picking up the phone and working with these small businesses that need the space but don't have the experience to work with a realtor or even know how the process is done. So I want to tell you about a deal I did in Massachusetts to demonstrate this point. Walking in the first 5 minutes, I should know if this is a true small bay property or not. But in the past, I didn't. And there was a lot of roll-up doors. There's 2 buildings on the sides of the property, and they're what we're talking about with small bay. Individual spaces, roll-up doors, easy access. But there was a 50,000 square foot building in the middle of the property that had misaligned roofs. It had weird configurations. It had a auto body shop in one part, a tile shop in another, a miscellaneous office in the back. And that poor layout, the poor roof conditions, it made the building oddly configured. And each tenant in there was specialized that it was difficult to access. And it was hard to improve. And it was hard to get the tenants out, actually, based on the state. And they stopped paying their rent. And then I got the space back, and no one wanted the space. So that's a problem because I need to generate revenue on half the building. And that's where the complexity came in. And that's where that was truly flex and kind of mid-bay and not real small bay. So that's where the cost added up, the downtime of evicting the tenant, the cost to demo out all the different spaces, the cost to fix the roofs, the free rent the new tenants are wanting, the new tenant improvements that I have to create in order to get the tenants in there. And it's been 2 years to start generating revenue. And that is a mistake I do not want to make in the future. So I bought that property at $80 a foot, which in the Boston MSA area looks like a steal. But the problem is I overpaid. Knowing what I know now, I would have paid $60 a foot and took that other $20 to improve that middle building and then eventually have it to be able to sell. And then I would have a quality product that I could sell for over $100 a foot, or I would have just canceled the deal because the seller didn't want to negotiate on the price. But not knowing specifically what type of product I was buying ended up being the mistake. So lessons learned. If you're investing in industrial real estate or working with somebody that invests in it, if half the building doesn't fit the criteria of your business plan, then the other half does fully conform, then really there can be no exceptions. Well, I say that, but minimal exceptions. The moment you start making too many exceptions, then you're already lost because there's too much complexity. And then you end up burying yourself in problems, and the opportunity cost that you spent on trying to fix that problem costs you a lot more than if you would have just passed and bought the assets that actually conform to the business plan of speed and ease and scale of buying true small bay. So who's making this mistake? Well, a lot of investors, but specifically from the world I come from, is self-storage investors. So they're well-capitalized groups. They have cash and they have investors, there's capital, and they come from the self-storage business and they come into the small bay because they're looking for better returns. So what they think they can do is buy a building, a true industrial building, convert it, but they don't truly understand, one, what the tenant needs, and two, what the cost is going to be. Because of their storage background, they think it's going to be simple to subdivide a building, that they can just start putting in new industrial tenants. And that is not the case because I've done this as well, and I've learned a lot of bad lessons. I just came back from the Small Bay Summit in Atlanta, and this is where the industry professionals come. I saw the level of hands of how many people wanted to do subdivisions or conversions of big box warehouse and put it into small bay. You got to buy that property cheap at a very low basis because these are difficult layouts to conform into small bay. That means difficult access, that the tenant can't just get easily in and out to do what they need to do in their space. In my eyes, this could be flex or glorified storage, but it's not true small bay. And that's where the confusion lies in this industry, is that operators are trying to force a property to be something it's not. Or if they're truly going to build it out in a way that is small bay, that the costs of the MEPs, the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing are huge. So getting new meters installed in every unit, getting bathrooms in every unit, getting HVAC, it costs a tremendous amount of money. And I see so many operators underestimate the real cost. And then in addition to that, there's the permitting, where you have to still get zoning sometimes permits and building permits to do the demos, to add the firewalls. Sometimes you have to have fire suppression. So the conversion game is a very, very tricky game. I'm staying away from it. It's not the strategy I like. You got to be a very good operator to pull it off. And this is really the crux of the video here, is that there's a lot of brokers, a lot of investment firms that are pitching these warehouses you can buy for $40, $50 a square foot, or maybe $100 a square foot, and you just redesign and release it out. It's a conversion. That is a ticking time bomb. It's a trap. Remember this. It's not easy to do that. It takes a tremendous team and a lot of cost. So run away. It's not as simple as a conversion. In my eyes, I'm only buying conforming product as subdivision already there. So the spaces are easily conforming, no redesigning, plenty of access in and out of the building, plenty of parking, and a functional building that has 18-foot clear heights inside the ceiling so people can actually operate in there, rather than some non-conforming thing that I get cheap that ends up being a massive headache, and there's too much downtime, confusion, and it kills my investment returns. So I just had to demonstrate this discipline. Just to put it practically, I was looking at a deal in Washington, D.C., super strong market, like 20 miles from the White House, attractive price, $132 a foot. I know one of the partners in the deal, and it has a massive office component, like 50% of it. And it's got complex tenant build-outs. So there's medical office, there's a government tenant, there's some warehousing, there's TSA training center. There's a lot of different tenants. And I decided to pass on it because of this lesson here that I've learned in the past, is that is it office? Is it retail? Is it industrial? Well, it's all of it. That's not what I want to invest in, because I don't have boots on the ground in DC. I don't want to deal with the permitting in DC. I don't have a great general contractor or project manager there. So it's investors that compromise on their disciplined strategy that can get burned. And that misclassification can happen again and again. This happens with storage investors, large warehouse investors, and they're well-intentioned, but they just haven't had the hard lessons that they need to learn. So hopefully this video will allow you to not have those hard lessons, and you can bypass it and find something that works to your strategy without getting that complexity and all those pain points. So if you're interested in anything I'm talking about right here, or you agree or disagree, please comment below. I'm happy to go into the deal deep dives with you. I created the Patriot Deal Room, where I analyze deals, give you lessons learned, talk about market trends. Comment below deal. I'll send you the link, and we can start having a conversation around small bay or industrial or any other types of real estate investing you want to do.